Now, things are going to start getting really interesting. I'm talking about the design menu. This is where you start dragging and dropping items into your story. Things like characters and props and different text. So let's go for it. Here at the design menu, you have the upload button. This allows you to upload your own graphics, your own photos or videos, so that you can include them in your own animated video. This is a nice feature because sometimes you need your own graphic or video to help tell your story. Some of this media might come from something you built in Photoshop, maybe it's a PDF document, or a video already created. Vyond gives you the flexibility to upload different media within your own animated video. Next is the character button. This is one of the funnest things to do in Vyond, and that is to choose or create your own characters. You can select from any of these different industries, or you can create a new character. If you choose to build your own character, Vyond will prompt you to save your work because you're actually leaving the project to go and build a character. It's pretty simple, and it walks you through selecting different attributes and features for your character. Once you have created a character, it will show up in your My Library folder, or you can choose a character already built. Now, the prop button allows you to choose different props based on a category. For example, under office and school, you might have backpacks, calculators, pencils, scissors, and so much more. The charts button allows you to include different graphs and percentages in your message. I'll show you how to manipulate the numbers in a graph later on, but this is where you would start for a graph visual. The text button allows you to include different styled text within your story. And the music button allows you to choose some fun background music to help enhance your story. Think of it this way. What would Star Wars be like without John Williams? Music can make your message come alive and create emotions for your audience. It gives your video a certain emotion that you want your audience to feel. Essentially, you're making a movie. And why do we love movies? It's because they entertain us. But if you dig a little deeper than that, it's because movies make us feel a certain way. We feel sad, we feel scared, we laugh, and hopefully if it's a good movie, we feel happy. I mention this because I want your audience to feel something as you create your story or your message. Emotions are a powerful motivator, especially if you want your audience to know or do something. Now, before moving on to the scene menu, please notice that when you select a different clip, the menu on the right changes based on if you selected a character, background, text, or graph. With that in mind, let's start on the scene menu first to set the stage, and we will add characters and props later on. Now let's learn about the replace option. This is great for quickly swapping out different scenes. Just browse through the different scenarios to get you started. Remember, you can add or delete different parts of your scene at any time. For example, if you don't like these trees, well, they're gone with a quick stroke of the delete button. Next, you change the background location, pattern, or color. By pressing the play button, you can get a preview of what that particular pattern looks like. Then you change the color. Or you can just change out the solid color or your background. This is nice because if you know your company's color code, you can add that exact color code to help meet the style guide for your company, keeping things consistent. And just so you know, somebody in marketing or somebody in training would have that company color code that you need. Now, companies are really particular on this. They go through painstaking efforts and pay a lot of money for specific branding. So make sure you're using the right shade of red, orange, or blue by plugging in the exact color code. Then there's scene transition. This is how the video will transition from one video clip to the next. This is especially valuable if you're changing scenes altogether, let's say moving from outside of the school and into the classroom. Again, you can preview each transition and see what it looks like. I like the slide transition, so I'll apply it and preview it. One of my favorite features is the camera movement button. Click Add Camera to add some movement from one area of the video clip to another. So for example, this represents the current camera position and size as indicated by this orange square. If you were to click Add Camera Movement, Another box shows what your final position and size will be. You can take this handle and adjust it as you like. So this is a good feature if you're trying to emphasize a certain part of the scene or simply trying to call attention to something else. Now click the preview button and see if you like it, and if you don't, make a slight change or remove it altogether. Now notice the blue line indicates the time frame of how long the camera movement will take. Most of the time, you don't want the movement to be as long as the entire video clip, so I'll shorten that down just a little bit. I'm also going to delay the camera movement so that it's not during the scene transition. So I don't want the camera to move as it's transitioning from one scene to the next scene. Now something great to mention here is if you click the plus icon on the timeline, you can choose to add a scene by choosing from a template, by continuing on with the existing scene, which by the way will include all your current objects, timings, and positions, or you can choose to start over with a new blank screen and build from scratch. Most of the time you will select continue with the existing scene just to continue building your story, while other times you'll choose to select from a template to change the scenery or to move on to another chapter of your story. Now we have the settings button. Sometimes it's just easier to write down your size and your position and make the adjustment that way. So I suggest getting in the habit of using the settings button to make adjustments as well. Now that's pretty much it for the design menu. We've gone over the basics and given you just enough to get started. Of course, the real magic happens once you start diving in and doing things yourself. But remember, you'll get the opportunity later on to job shadow as I build a story from scratch. So hang in there. The next segment is where we make the story come alive.